Hi everyone, I'm Hana Kang, and it's so nice to meet you. A North Korean defector living in South Korea. Welcome to the Hanaya YouTube channel. I wanted to share my story with more people beyond the barriers of language. So, the English narration in this video was created with the help of technology, with the sincere hope that my true feelings would be fully delivered. It's a method where an AI based on my own voice reads the translated script. I sincerely ask you to listen to my story and to join me on this journey of communication with your warm feedback. Thank you. My story of entering South Korea is a special one. It's like the K-drama Crash Landing on You. No, it's a story that goes even beyond that. I risked my one and only life not once, but twice. The first time to escape the massive prison known as North Korea. The second time to make my way to South Korea where the man I love lives. But what I gained after risking my life twice wasn't freedom, but a constant companion called anxiety. I risked my life to live, yet the very choices I made for survival were the ones that made me anxious. Since when, because of what, and why did I have to live in such a state of fear? I hope you'll stay with me to the end of my story, which is even more dramatic than a drama. I'll continue now. After finishing the immigration process and walking through the gate, I saw a man in the distance waving with both hands, his gaze fixed only on me. I walked and he stood still, waiting for me. In his eyes, I could see the past 4 months flowing like a river. A mix of overwhelming longing and the relief of our reunion was telling me more than any words ever could. In the brief moment he took my hand, I understood everything, how he had endured those 4 months and just how much he had been waiting for me. Standing next to him were 2 people who had come with him, his aunt and a senior colleague from his military unit. My husband introduced me to them.
This is my wife.
With a thin, nervous voice, I offered my greeting. Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you. His aunt squeezed my hand and said softly, "You've been through so much to get here." After exchanging our first greetings, we left the airport and all got into the car together. During the entire drive, my husband never once let go of my hand. It wasn't awkward, nor was it too much. He held my hand like someone afraid to let go of a precious treasure he could finally touch after a long, painful wait. Feeling the warmth of his hand, I was taking my first steps into an unfamiliar world. Outside the window, the jewel-like city I had seen from the sky now flashed before my eyes. Everything I had gone through to reach this moment passed by like a panorama. After driving for some time, a question arose. Where exactly was I going? As we got further from the airport, the city lights grew faint and the world outside the window slowly darkened. Street lights became sparse, and I traced their dim glow with my eyes, wondering where that brilliant city had disappeared to. Where exactly was I going? I didn't know what lay at the end of this road, but it was okay, because I was next to him. For the sole reason that I was by his side, I could quietly release my heart into this strange new world. After a long drive, we arrived at a restaurant near our new home to have a late dinner. The moment I walked through the door, my stomach was already cheering from the smell in the air. It wasn't simple hunger, it was the primal instinct of survival, of setting foot in a new world. My body was tense and my heart was frozen, but my stomach was more than ready to welcome its first meal here. While waiting for the food, an orchestra seemed to be tuning up in my stomach. I could hear the sound of meat sizzling on the grill, and I looked down at the single piece of meat placed on my plate. Just then, his aunt smiled warmly at me. Her gaze was a quiet comfort, as if to say, "It's okay, this is your place now." It was the kind of wisdom only held by those who have weathered the years, a sense older than words. In that gaze, I felt my heart opening up without me even realizing it. Knowing I liked meat, my husband kept grilling it for me. My husband's movements with the tongs were so skillful. He carefully placed each slice of pork belly on the grill. That sight felt as if he were laying down stepping stones, one by one, so I wouldn't lose my way in this new world. I wrapped a piece of meat in a fresh vegetable leaf and carefully took my first bite. The moment the juices burst inside my mouth, a wave of emotion surged up inside me. This was the first meal of a survivor, and it was the first warmth offered by the person I love. That meal was my very first in South Korea. After the meal, his aunt said her warm goodbyes and left. And my husband's senior colleague quietly drove us to our new home. Standing before an invisible threshold, my heart began to beat quietly. Opening the door was a simple act, but stepping inside meant carrying the entire weight of the life I had lived. My hand, held in my husband's, trembled slightly. Once I opened this door and stepped inside, a new life I could have never imagined would begin. As if he could read my mind, my husband came up behind me and gently wrapped an arm around my shoulder. Drawing courage from his warmth, I finally opened the door and stepped inside. My very first night in South Korea, spent with the man I love in this space where everything was a first. But was it truly as peaceful and beautiful as a dream? The beginning of my encounter with true daily life after escaping the massive prison of North Korea. The story of that first night will continue in the next episode. If you turn on notifications, you can be the first to join me on the next chapter of my story. Thank you.